So I was getting ready for the show and I just was checking my email ahead of time. Not my PDawg night email, but I had to check my regular email, which I use for my personal life, because I was expecting an email from a company that I contacted, and I was hoping to get that email, and I open up that other email and I look at it, and the first thing is in my list of emails was an email from Uber. And so we're going to go through the email that I got from Uber today because it's just because. And I'm not, well, how about I explain it after the intro? Play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Night. The music. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday on the Morning Night Live. It is June 5th, 2020, in the year that will never end. But let's see, so June's the 6 months. We're almost halfway through the year. We are over halfway to the election, though, that's coming up in November. And there's a lot of factors that are going to make this election interesting. And I think that the factors are just going to keep piling on. This year, I got to tell you, it makes me want to take a special pill that I originally was going to be the name of the show. And let me show you. Let me give you an example of this pill. Let me find a good example here. Oh, here we go. I was going to get me a little bit of fuck it all just to get me through the rest of the year. Because when life blows, just fuck it all. So anyway, so I was saying before the break. Oh, by the way, good morning, everybody. I'm very happy you're here. Looks like people are jumping in. I can't really tell. Oh, looks like they fixed it. Oh my gosh, my dashboard works again. It tells me how many people are here. So we already got 25 people here just right off the spot. That's awesome. Let's say before I tell we're gonna look. I got a glance at this email from Uber that I just got. And so we're going to go through it together because I haven't read it all. I just got the gist of the letter, but we're going to go through it together because it's it screams virtue. And so I thought we'd go through this. But let's say good morning to everybody first. Johnny Hellcat was in the chat first and gets the bell. Good morning, Johnny Hellcat. The first ever viewer of the Morning Night Live is Johnny Hellcat. And Johnny Hellcat still comes around when he can. And I appreciate you, sir, more than you'll ever know. Good morning also to Grill and Pirate Pete, and who's listening to the stream before having to go out and clean up the yard. I had a giant evergreen shrub removed. Oh, that's always fun. I do a lot of yard stuff myself. Anyway, good morning also to Chi-Town J, Tyler F, Malia Carr, my other friend from down under. Good morning, Selecta Boy.
Yeah, boy.
Also, good morning to Mike Savage. Blarg, he says. I think he says. I don't know what that is. Good morning, Sean DW, Stabbing Joe Scarborough, don't hurt me. Amy in Connecticut, D.I. Freighter Watcher, Let's see. Hey, Larry, what's up? Good morning, CNN Sucks. Good morning, Cindy Rochelle. Cindy, thanks for all the stuff you sent me. I'm going to try to get to some of it today. Although I figured out I probably waited too long to put that email out, and I still want more examples, but I'll use a couple. You had a couple great articles you sent me. I appreciate that. Also, good morning to Maniac Man, Advocatus Diaboli, the Devil's Advocate. Also, who am I missing here? I got CNN Sucks, Maniac Man, Smarty Bear. Good morning. Good morning to Jaeger Pony, Sapphire Dragon, Black Hebrew Israelites.
That's right.
And MC is here.
Hammer time.
Well, all my people who have their own personal sound effect are here. That's awesome. Also, good morning to Green Badger Outdoors. Am I missing anybody? W.R. Costin, what's up? What's happening? Cynical Lindsay. And okay, that's it so far. And also thanks to those of you who already tweeted out the show or retweeted the show. Tyler F., David Schoen, Cynical Lindsay, Cindy Rochelle. That is awesome. If you're everyone in the chat, if you would share this show out once a day, we might get to that 1,000 subscribers so that I can do my show on the road in July. I only got I have less than I only got about 4 weeks left. Let's see, it's June 5th. Yeah, the third. Well, we haven't decided if it's going to be the third or fourth week of July. Although we might wait till Lady Boomer's birthday in August. But we're going to do the show from the road for a few days when we go on a waterfall tour. And we'll probably do live shots from the waterfalls and things like that. So that'll be cool. All right, so let's talk about my letter from Uber. Because if you've noticed, there's a lot of companies who are out there. Well, they are signaling their virtue. Now, it's kind of, it's the kind of the corporatization of wokeness, the corporatization of empathy. And I don't begrudge companies that do this. Although I think some of these companies do this for just to cover their ass, good morning, Jack Fernstrom, by the way. But anyway, let's check out the email that I got with Uber. Here it is. There we go. Web article. There we go. Marty. Well, that's pretty presumptuous of them. Just do I know you? Letter writer at Uber. I am one. I'm kind of old fashioned that way. Usually I would prefer them to say, "Dear Mr. So-and-so," or at least "Dear Marty." But I don't know you. You just call me Marty like we've been friends for years? No, we're not friends. Anyway, let me start by saying I wish I never had to send this email. Well, you didn't have to, but I suppose I appreciate it. I wish the lives of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and countless others weren't so violently cut short. I wish that institutional racism and the police violence it gives rise to didn't cause their deaths. Okay, I'm going to start with, tell me the institution that caused, tell me what, I'm still confused, particularly in George Floyd's case. What institutional racism caused his death? I asked this? I was on. By the way, I was on Tommy Sotomayor's show the other day, just briefly. He had a call-in show, and I was on the show. I was the last. In fact, I was the last guest on the show, and I asked. He and I were talking about this whole thing, and I kind of asked this question: did George Floyd die because he's a black man? And I think we both kind of now. Tommy and I have similar thoughts on this whole situation, so it's not necessarily fair to use him as the be-all, end-all regarding this situation, but we kind of agreed that no, that's not it, because I think George Floyd died because a cop was on a bit of a power trip, and that doesn't matter if George Floyd was black. The situation, obviously, the reason they ended up on the ground is George Floyd, did not want to be put into the police car, and they ended up on the ground. But once they had him on the ground, I've said this many times, once they had him subdued, once they had him handcuffed and not moving, it's not like he could reach around and punch them with his arms or things like that. All they had to do was continue to subdue him without the unnecessary pressure to the neck, and also situational awareness that he was having issues, that they should have made a change to either his position or particularly the position of the idiot's knee on his neck that caused the man to die. Now, I don't care about all the other ideas that there were other reasons that, maybe there's a thing out there. Oh, he might have had fentanyl in his system, or they might have done this. I don't care. It's still the officer's duty to bring the man in alive for justice. So anyway, and same. So the case of Ahmaud Arbery, again, what institution? Because they say institutional racism. That means there's an institution. There's a system. There's a system that causes it. So Ahmaud Arbery. Now, that was a shitty situation where they found a man inside of a house, and someone was complaining that people had been, in their house they were building, so they set up the camera system, and Ahmaud Arbery, just whether he went in to check it out or whatever, someone assumed that he was doing something nefarious. So they called the people who they said they wanted to come and help them when they needed help, and they came, and then they chased him down. And again, this is a case where what institution did this anyway? And then Breonna Taylor was a wrongly executed warrant. But anyway, and that case is probably the most fucked up of the three. Not that they're great cases, but all right. So anyway, and the police violence that it gives rise to didn't cause their deaths. They said, I wish that institutional racism and the police violence it gives rise to didn't cause their deaths. I wish that all members of our black community felt safe enough to move around their cities without fear. Well, most of us do. But right now, there are a lot of children who are scared to death because we tell them that it's not safe, that you should be afraid of police. Look, if a lot of people don't feel fear because that's not the only violence that is detrimental to black people in the black community. Okay, so it's not just, certainly not just, in fact, the police probably are we tell them they should be afraid of the police. They tell us we should be fearful of the police. Well, I'm more fearful of the other people killing people in my community or in that community. I haven't, I'm not a great representative in this situation. I've lived in the burbs for most of my life. So I'm not a great representative, and I'm fully aware of that. But it doesn't mean I don't go into the neighborhoods, do business, get my hair cut, shit like that. Grew up in a black church, even though my parents moved out of the hood when I was 5. I still went to a black church in the hood. Still went to my piano teacher who lived in the hood. My dentist was black. Our veterinarian was black. Anyway, doesn't really matter. I wish I didn't have to try to find the words to explain all of this to my 2 young sons. I'm interested how you explain this. Anyway, but I've been given hope this week by hundreds of thousands of peaceful protesters demanding change. I am committed to being a part of that change. Okay, how does Uber? Well, maybe we'll find out. I'm probably giving money to some organization that's raising money off of this. Anyway, as a company, we believe that everyone has the right to move freely, no matter where they live or the color of their skin. Very good. We should all believe that. That is a virtuous position. We are proud of how Uber has helped improve transportation equity over the last decade. They know the buzzwords, don't they? But the reality remains that Black Americans often don't feel safe to move freely in places around our country. And they still face enormous barriers that others do not. Now my children are mixed race, very light skinned. I've hung around, grew up around white kids and don't, they have light skin privilege, I guess you'd call it. And so I'm not a good representative of what they're talking about here. Or at least I don't get, let's just put it this way. My black card exists, but my credit limit has been severely limited. Mine's almost like my black card is almost like a secured black card. I kind of have to put money in to get any out, and it's I probably don't have a whole lot of use for it anyway. As a company, this is a reality we should not perpetuate or accept. Well, are you perpetuating it, or are you perpetuating the perception of it? I have ideas, but I'm of solutions, but maybe I'll wait until I have some people come on with me that maybe have a little more either experience or a stronger position on some of the issues that come up, because I don't as much as some do. So maybe that'll be a good show to have one of these days. But here's how they continue. We are committed to driving lasting change. Oh, no pun intended. We are committed to driving lasting change through criminal justice reform. Interesting. I don't know what that has to do with. Well, it's an issue, obviously. And obviously, it's funny because the criminal justice reform that everyone likes to talk about so much, I've been reading and watching old videos of Joe Biden in Congress. Joe Biden, the guy who wrote the 94 crime bill that got signed, that everyone hated, and that right now the current president, who is clearly a racist, white supremacist, nationalist, Hitlerite, commie, Nazi, whatever they call him. It's funny because he's been the one who's been kind of chipping away at old quid pro, what's his name's 94 crime bill. In fact, I was thinking about making a spoof ad for Joe Biden, and making Kamala Harris his running mate, and saying, Joe Biden, I wrote the 94 crime bill, and my vice president candidate Kamala Harris enforced the 94 crime bill. Biden Harris, putting niggas in jail since 1994. I am not Joe Biden. I do not approve that message. Anyway. On Sunday, we announced a $1 million donation, virtue but dollars, to the Equal Justice Initiative. We're going to have to look that up. And Center for Policing Equity buzzword, to support their important work in making racial justice in America, racial justice, buzzword, in America more than just a promise. We are committed to creating a community that treats everyone equally and with dignity. We do not tolerate discrimination, harassment, or racism on our platform. What's your platform? Uber is your platform? Who communicates using Uber? Raise your hand in the chat if you do communicate using Uber, and do not raise your hand if you don't communicate. I don't know what the hell that means. Good morning to Kyra Alexander, the dead Kaiser. How you doing? Also, I think everybody. Okay, the second point here. We are committed to creating a community that treats everyone. Oh, okay. I said this, but I'm gonna read it again. We are committed to creating a community that treats everyone equally and with dignity. That's a buzzword. We do not tolerate discrimination, harassment, or racism on our platform as outlined by our community guidelines. Well, we're going to have to check those out too. I wasn't going to spend any time on this kind of stuff, but anyway, we will hold everyone. Oh, this is good. This is fantastic. Listen carefully to what they're saying in this sentence. We will hold everyone who uses Uber accountable to these standards of basic respect and human decency. I respectfully ask anyone willing to abide by these rules to delete Uber.
Wow.
Do you know what they just said there? Do you know what they just said there? Oh my God. Here's what Uber just told you. Oh, good morning to the gayest person on YouTube. Sorry, Uber, that's actually their name. Don't get me, don't make me delete Uber because I said that. That's somebody's name in my chat. You get that it's between you and them. I don't know. You know what they just told you? They just told you they're reserving the right to ban you from Uber if you have any form of wrongthink. Kind of like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube does, although Facebook, at least the social media people are a little more sly and subtle about it, and they don't use it with a hammer. They don't have to have that. The ban hammer is, although now, so I'm gonna guess that Alex Jones might be banned from Uber, or I don't know, anyone else you think of who's been banned from social media could be banned from Uber. They could ban Michelle Malkin. They might even ban Donald Trump from Uber. Oh my God. Oh my God. We are committed to supporting the Black community. As a starting point, we will use Uber Eats to promote Black-owned restaurants. Well, there are none left. They've all been burned down during the riots. What are you talking about? Oh, well, some of them probably doing okay. Hello, Richard Cranium, Kyra Alexander, Man Animal. I think I got everybody. Good morning. And to the gayest person of YouTube, of course. Holy shit. While making it easier for you to support them with no delivery fees for the remainder of the year. Now, is that, I'm wondering, is that only black-owned restaurants they're going to do that for? Wow. Wow. Cool. I'm gonna order from. There's a barbecue joint in Minneapolis. Now, there's one in my suburb that's even better than the one in Minneapolis. But there is a place that does. I don't know if you're from the Midwest. You've ever been from Chicago style Italian beef sandwich. There's a place in St. Paul. So there's brothers that own a place down there. I love the place. That imports some of the genuine Chicago Italian beef. That from a place in Chicago that makes the best Italian beef, and I might have to do some Uber Eats from that place from where I live. No delivery fee for the remainder of the year. Awesome. That place is about 10 miles away. I drive out of my way to go to that place to get a Chicago beef sandwich, by the way. Chicago Italian beef style sandwich, whatever. Holy shit. And in the coming weeks, we will offer discounted rides to black-owned small businesses who have been hit hard by COVID-19 to help their recovery. Wow. You know, I just thought of something. If I ever want to go party in Minneapolis, if me and Lady Boomer want to go out for a night on the town, but we want to take an Uber so that we don't have to drive, so we can have a few cocktails and whatnot, I'm gonna look up some black-owned businesses that are close to where the bar I'm going to, or there's maybe a couple, and just get an Uber ride to there. I'll get a discount. Oh my gosh. We are committed to making Uber a diverse and inclusive place for people of color to work and thrive. While we have more work to do, we have tied our senior executives' pay to measurable progress in our diversity goals. Oh my. And we'll continue to publish data on our workforce so the public can hold us accountable. We're also committed to expanding opportunities for drivers and delivery people, including through education opportunities and skills training. Now, what is fascinating about this? Okay, so let's say that they say they're going to try to work on their diversity goals. What are your, now, first of all, I use Uber a lot, especially when I'm not in the Twin Cities. Okay, so we go travel. We'll use Uber quite often rather than drive or rent a car, especially if we're going out and we don't know the area. Sometimes we'll just leave the rent a car at wherever we're staying and take an Uber, right? But it's almost all the Uber drivers that I've used in the last got a super chat here from Mr. James Colley. And thank you, sir. The $5 super chat says, but they said everyone accountable. So they're going to hold everyone accountable. So when black people act racist towards white people and it's documented, the black person is then banned from Uber? That's a good question. After all, they did say everyone. Well, that's a good question to ask. I guess that's a legitimate question. What I was going to say is almost every time in the last, in fact, I can't remember. Let's see, I'm trying to think how many times I've used Uber. The last couple times I've traveled, we've used Uber quite a bit. I can only remember having a white Uber driver about maybe 1 in 15 times when I use Uber. It's usually, it's usually someone who is an immigrant, like a legal immigrant. They're hustling and using Uber to make some money. I rarely get a white Uber driver. So I guess they're diverse. What are their diversity goals? Are there diversity goals? See, when companies say they have diversity goals, here's the problem. So do you want your diversity goals to match the population of the place in which you live? So if I live in an area that is 60% white, 19% Asian, 11% black, and the rest is other. Is my diversity goal to exactly match those demographics? And or are you talking about your corporate diversity goals in your corporate offices with Uber? Let's say Uber is based in Silicon Valley, and you're, the corporate diversity goal, if you want to match that, well, here's the problem. And this is kind of like when we talk about the wage gap. In order to reach a diversity goal to match a population, you have to have a similar percentages of each person and then those populations to go into the fields that you're trying to fill. So, for example, we've talked. I'll use let's say the diversity goal is just between male and female, right? We talk about how the tech companies are about, they're 80% male, especially they're almost 85% male, whatever, in the tech part of tech companies. What was it? 80, it is 80%, it's like 80%, right? Or 81% male. And so they're saying, well, the population is 50% women. Well, here's the problem. The people in computer science in colleges are 81% male. So in order to attract female tech people, I'm talking about the tech people, the people in computer science, computer engineering, they're 81% male. I asked my son this because that's what his major was in college, and it's like it was during that time they were talking about the wage gap several years ago, and I'm like, so tell me, I asked my son, son, in your computer science classes, what's the male to female ratio? And he said, probably 4-1, 5-1, somewhere in there. Oh, shocker! Because yes. Only 19% of computer science and computer engineering majors are women. Okay, because that's a choice. You don't go to college and they say, okay, we're gonna put you in this section because we need a woman in this spot, and we got to put a man in this spot, and we got to put a woman in this spot. No, people choose their majors, and more males choose that major than females. Why? That's a whole nother story. I don't know why. It's just that's a fact, because most women who go into STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math, go into medicine, either human medicine or veterinary medicine, where they're 90%, 80% of the people going into those fields. That's why there's so many more female doctors now than there are men. Or especially coming out of schools, well, all the guys for some reason, the males choose tech. Well, let's say you're trying to reach some diversity goals. Well, let's say you're looking for your programmers at Uber. I don't know how much programming you need for Uber, but you need some programming for Uber. How many people, and I'll use the term they use, people of color. You know what? By the way, people of color, a lot of black people hate that term. People of color. Oh, people of color could mean the text that you import from India and China and Saudi Arabia or wherever else, or Nigeria, right? That's not American black people. People of color. I thought you were talking about black people here. But anyway, so now you got to have to make sure that let's use the example before, with 11% from that city, 11% of the population of that city are black people. But what if only 0.5% of black people are going into the field where you need 11% in your workforce? So now that little 0.5%, Well, good for them because they chose a field where they're going to be in super high demand because all these tech companies want black people in their tech areas, which is great for my kid. So, but anyway, I hope you're following me there. But so they're going to tie their senior executives' pay to measurable progress on our diversity goals and publish data on our workforce. Well, they can, it's funny because I think their workforce, I'm going to guess it's overwhelmingly minorities. Like I said, I see more people of color as Uber drivers. Okay, not necessarily black people, but all sorts of people of color. Lots of immigrants. I'm sure they're almost always legal immigrants. I'm guessing. Yeah, Uber drivers are probably overwhelmingly people of color. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just in our area. I know there's a lot of Somali and just a lot of different immigrants doing that. Anyway, they finish up the letter like this: we know that this isn't enough. It's not enough for what? It's not enough for what? Pandering to me, which you're failing miserably, because I don't do that shit. Anyway, it won't be enough until we see true racial justice. I got a question. Well, I'll ask the question after I finish the letter. But we plan to work day in and day out to improve, learn, and grow as a company. Lastly, let me speak clearly and unequivocally. Black lives matter. Dara Kajroshka Shahi, CEO. Okay, Dara. See, the problem here is, and I don't, the concept of Black Lives Matter is a solid one. You know what? Yes, Black lives do matter. They should matter. I don't want to veer off into the all lives matter argument, even though, yes, that's true. But I'm going to just stick with what they're going with here. Dara, if Black lives truly matter to you, as a company, especially a company like Uber, what are you doing to reduce the loss of Black lives I'm going to end the sentence there. What are you doing to reduce the loss of Black lives? Well, let's even narrow that down a little bit. What are you doing to reduce the loss of Black lives through violence? Because police violence or even racial violence is probably the tiniest subset of violence that Black people die from in this country. It definitely gets the most attention because it's very, very, it's amplified every time it happens if it's an officer or a white person, which is, I get it. We have a racial history in this country that makes you raise an eyebrow anytime it happens. However, Uber is a company. What are you doing to reduce violence against Black people that's beyond that tiny subset of raising your hand and offering discounts to rides to black businesses and getting rid of a delivery fee to black-owned restaurants and giving your $1 million to the Equal Justice Initiative and Center for Policing Equity. What do those initiatives or organizations do to reduce the death of black people via violence beyond a tiny subset that is dying because of a police officer or even a white on black crime? How are you actually helping? Now, I am curious, though. I'm so curious. Hello, Rena. Oh, by the way, good morning, Renovasio. Gamer Valine, cracked. What's happening? Furry kitten. I don't know if I said hi to you already, but I'm saying it now. Man Animal, you were here before. Evan S., how you doing? I think I caught up there a little bit. What are you doing beyond this giving discounts to black-owned restaurants, which I will, if there's no delivery fee, I'm getting me a damn Chicago-style Italian beef sandwich delivered. And if I get a delivery fee, I swear to God, I'm going to be on my computer typing to Uber. Hey, oh, yo. That was a black-owned restaurant. I want my delivery fee back. I'll give the driver a nice tip, though, because that's a long way to drive for just to bring me an Italian beef sandwich. But anyway, what are you doing? What does that mean? All you're doing now? I will give the credit for this. At least Uber is putting some money where their mouth is. Now, I don't know anything about these places they're donating money to. Let's see. One is what is this place called? The Equal Justice Initiative and the Center for, I don't want to do any of these. Center for Policing Equity. Okay. What is so? Well, now everyone knows that you have virtue. We have virtue. We are Uber and we are virtuous. Please come do business with us because we have virtue. A lot of businesses are doing this right now. And you know what? Look, I guess I'm fine that, they support families who have to go through this. The Floyd family, man, it's very tough. It's very tough for them. Although fucking Al Sharpton got him, weaseled his way onto that stage yesterday at that memorial service. But see, the memorial service yesterday, that wasn't for George Floyd. That memorial service, except maybe his family, but that was a show. That was a show put on by a lot of other people looking to control the narrative. The George Floyd actual memorial service that his family will go to is going to be more private, I think. That was a show for the cameras. And it's amazing to me because I remember, again, it's turning into an anti-Trump rally somehow. I don't know why, particularly in Washington, D.C. But even Al Sharpton said some shit about Trump yesterday and whatever, or just referred to it. Didn't I? I don't know if I can't remember if he said it by name or not. I wasn't listening. But who said this? Somebody said the other day that might have been Tommy Sotomayor or whatever. George Floyd is worth a lot more money in his current state than his prior state. You know that they're, the baby mama, which I hate to call people that, his child's mother came on and saying that, he made a point to make it. He was taking care of my child and me, because there's going to be a wrongful death lawsuit on the city of Minneapolis. Hopefully, this Crump guy who's 0-5 in these cases might actually get a win for once. I don't know. And probably, and the Floyd family deserves that, by the way. This was wrong, and it's going to cost the city of Minneapolis a lot of money, and as well it should. But there's plenty of people making money off of this already. There's already people making they're campaigning off it. They're raising money off of it. There's politicians grift. I usually hate the word grift, but this is a grift, man. There's people out. In fact, even the people out there, making videos out there, the people I never heard of out there doing live streams, all the riots and stuff. Some are already out there, and that's what they do. That's how they make a living. But it's just there's these companies, though. These companies, boy, they're quick to raise their hands and say, "We have virtue." It's almost like it's funny because right now the companies are all hands up, don't shoot, we have virtue, don't burn us down, use our businesses still. Because the sentiment around the country, at least with the people out there on the streets protesting, is that your companies, y'all capitalist motherfuckers, don't deserve to have your business. You've taken from us. And now we're going to take back from you, and it's your fault that all these black men are being killed, all these black people are being killed by police, even though nobody wants to hear the actual numbers. And look, here's the thing. There are problems with police brutality, and we know every single one when it happens to a black man or a black woman, and we know that. And there's a lot more cases out there that if you want police reform, I don't say that let's focus on all of it, because there's a lot of it. Like I said, nobody knows that dude's name from, what the hell is his name again? Tony Timpa. Anyone know that name by heart? Do you know that name? Good morning, Midday Sun and BG and Sheograth. How you doing, y'all? Does anyone know that name? Tony Timpa? Died in 2016. Same situation. Police knees to the back, or not to his neck, but he died of asphyxiation, and they laughed at him. Oh, you don't know his name because he was a white guy. But that was another case of police brutality. And in fact, if you would highlight the other cases, and I hate to be cynical, because I do think that people who saw this George Floyd case, everyone who saw this George Floyd case, everyone who saw that video agreed that that's fucked up and these guys got to be charged. And that's a problem. But I get, they need to, maybe if more of these other cases were also highlighted, there'd be more of a call for people to rein in some of the police officer tactics. I hate to be that cynical, but it's kind of how it is. Because again, the thing is, even if you add in all the white people killed by police, it's still very rare in comparison to police interactions. Okay? But we still need, there shouldn't be any. There shouldn't be any of these cases. You know, it's a person killed by a police officer, unless they are an actual danger to that police officer, it shouldn't happen. Doesn't matter what the color of your skin is, and it doesn't happen. In reference to police interactions on percentage basis, there's been more than one study that says you're more likely to have a violent interaction with a police officer if you're only counting skin color patches. The white people. Doesn't mean that even that stat doesn't mean a damn thing. The only thing it means is that no matter who you are, you shouldn't be abused by police officers. If you get arrested and they have you subdued, you should live through that ordeal and be able to go to court. So I don't care, and I'm telling you right now, one of the things that broke my heart more than anything, and during this particular ordeal, the videos I've seen, is seeing that little girl. I don't know who she was talking to. Was she talking in front of the city council or talking in front of a crowd or whatever? And this girl's crying because she actually believes that police are out killing people with her same color skin because her skin is that color. You know, I don't know that these officers that killed George Floyd. Well, here's the other thing. Two of the officers had only been on the force a week. They were in training still for their particular police officer. They just out of the academy, first police job, first week on the force in Minneapolis, and he was their training supervisor. Oh my. But I guarantee you, especially those two and the officer watching, and I don't even believe the officer with the knee on the neck came into that situation that day and said, I'm going to kill a black man today. That's what my goal is. I need to get my ratio up of killing black men today. So I'm going to make sure that I kill a guy who, I got a call on a fake $20 bill possibly being passed. Let's go. What color is this guy? What color is the guy who passed the fake bill? Oh, he's black. Well, here's my opportunity today to kill a black man. I don't think that was the case. And in fact, I don't even think, situational awareness, he's absolutely liable for the death of this man, should go to prison. Probably didn't intend to kill the man. Just either his stupidity, his lack of situational awareness, or just being an asshole got the best of him. And he should be punished for that. But I'm just saying, I don't think he was intending to kill anybody that day. I don't think any police officer goes out and says, I'm going to kill somebody today. I would guess that would be once in I would say once in 50 million encounters at best. And that's, well, 10 million a year, I'd say 100 million encounters that an officer might even think that. And if there's an officer who thinks that, they're a psycho asshole. This guy was just a dumbass asshole who didn't pay attention to what he was doing and too busy looking at people film him. But he needs to go to jail for it. But as far as Uber goes, holy shit. Way to show us your virtue. We're gonna throw out $1 million and say that we're gonna give you some discounted deliveries and rides to black businesses. Way to go! Good for you. All right, it's real quick. Let me. Oh my gosh, I took a long time with that. Hey, gang. As you know, the show is brought to you by you. Share the stream. Hit the like button. If you want to donate, you can do that through Streamlabs down below. And I will read the super chats I'll read the accompanying messages on the show. Or if you're watching after the fact on replay, I'll read it in the next show. Thanks for all of you who've been so kind and generous in your donations. The link of the super chats is in the chat and also in the description down below. If you're watching after the fact on replay, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I'd like to hear your voice, and I will try to acknowledge that you were here too. I appreciate all of you who take the time to watch this sometimes hour, sometimes 2 hour show on your time off. That might be the most humbling thing that you can do. That you'll take your time and spend it listening to me ramble on every once in a while. All right. One thing that I failed to do today, which usually is very important on Fridays, although I wanted to make sure you could hear everything I said, and I'm kind of whispering today, so that's probably why I didn't do it right at the beginning. But you know that on Friday, it's Funky Friday, and I forgot to turn the music on, so here we go. All right, can you hear that? Got some funky horns going. Uh-huh. So, now that I see this email from Uber, I want to check out these organizations that they're donating to. Let's do a quick trip through this website real quick, and then I got to get down to some other stuff. So this is the Equal Justice Initiative, and we'll just go through some of the headlines because I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on this, but just to give you an idea of what the Equal Justice Initiative is about. So their header here is COVID-19's impact on people in prison. Now, fascinating thing about that. I've seen a couple studies about this in actual prisons where they haven't already let everyone out. And they're finding that the infection rate in prisons is very similar to any other businesses or meatpacking plants or places like cruise ships, where they'll have a population in a prison where, let's say they have 400 cases of COVID-19. Roughly, I think they said like 10% of those cases actually have symptoms. There was one Tennessee prison where they had 400 cases. I think like 37 or something like that actually had symptoms and had to be hospitalized, and one died. Someone who was elderly and had other complications. And that's pretty much, as all the studies that I've seen on prisons, that has been the case. So COVID-19's impact on people in prison, I don't think we need to let people out of prison for COVID-19 worries. Anyway, moving on. Other things here. Brian Stevenson on the frustration behind the George Floyd protest. I'll tell you what the biggest frustration is that the peaceful protest that I certainly support, even though I don't necessarily subscribe to everything that they say in the protest, have been overshadowed by cities on fire. Robert E. Lee statue and the legacy of white supremacy. Okay. Homicide reveals Alabama prison crisis. Apparently there was a homicide in prison. Tragic death of George Floyd revealed continuing problem of police violence. Again, the dog bites man events. But guess what? Get your dogs under control. Okay, I'm not saying that the dog bite man events make it any less significant. Get the dogs under control, but they are still very rare when it comes to police interactions. Just Mercy wins. Just Mercy. Oh, that's a person's name. Wins ABA Silver Gavel Award. EJI's website wins Webby Award. And legal barriers to challenging excessive force by police. Well, excessive force is a subjective term, but they have sections on criminal justice reform, criminal justice reform. We challenge the death penalty, extreme sentences for children, excessive punishment, and abusive prison conditions through litigation, advocacy, and education. And you know what? We need criminal justice reform. We have way too many non-violent offenders in prison. Right now it's probably more important to have violent offenders in prison. Racial justice. We share America's history of racial injustice from enslavement, racial terror lynchings, and segregation to mass incarceration. Thank you, Joe Biden. Public education. We engage communities in conversations about the legacy of racial injustice informed by reports, online experience, and hands-on projects. Featured work, Community Remembrance Project, Protecting Children from Abusive Punishment, Challenging the Death Penalty, History of Racial Justice Calendar, EJ Videos, Racial Justice Reports, and visit EGI's 2 sites in Montgomery. So this place, is it Montgomery? Is it based in Montgomery, Alabama? I'm not sure. They have a legacy museum. Established in 2018, the Legacy Museum explores the history of racial inequality and its relationship to a range of contemporary issues from mass incarceration to police violence, which, I don't know. I hope that's not just a museum of oppression porn. I hope that it has some solutions and things like that. I don't know. And then National Memorial for Peace and Justice. Alrighty then, the National Memorial, which is provides a sacred space for truth-telling and reflection about racial terrorism and its legacy. Okay, and then you can support by donating here. All right, so that's the Equal Justice Initiative. That's one of the places that Uber is donating to, and then the second one is the Center for Policing Equity. Equity is one of those buzzwords that I love. We do science to promote justice. What we do, we have, okay, I'm not going to read all these. Local impact policy plan for policing America, National Justice Database, CompStat for justice, research, what now? I'm curious. I'm going to go through this later and check out what kind of CompStats they have. Newsroom, Center for Policing Equity President names Schwab Foundation Social Entrepreneur of the Year. Center for Policing Equity and Justice Collaboratory released 5-step policy action plan for policing in America. Nation's largest project to improve police community relationships finds progress in perceptions of bias and safety, proving and solving racial bias with the NYPD. NYPD reviewed nearly 2,000 complaints of police bias. It substantiated none. That's fascinating. You'd think that they would at least hit a couple. So they, these now look, and I'm believe me, I'm not making light of this either of these organizations. I'm genuinely interested in what they do. Offensive social media posts by police lead to internal investigations in several cities. Well, that's probably something they should do. More than 100 cops in St. Louis and Philadelphia under investigation for offensive social media posts. Now, I'm kind of curious, though. when they say offensive social media post, what the fuck does that mean? I want to be, I guess I'd have to be specific as what they're talking about. Bad jokes. I mean, I can tell you, I go to the barbershop and the brothers tell some offensive jokes too. Could they get in trouble if one of those brothers is a cop? I don't know. What Kamala Harris's travails tells us about the Democrat dilemma. Because Kamala Harris is making herself heard a lot during this time. She really wants to be a vice presidential candidate. But I got a feeling Kamala Harris is probably not the person they want because I got to tell you, black people are not gonna embrace her. I'm just warning you, Joe Biden, if you pick Kamala Harris, we're going to be hearing a lot about her time as the Attorney General in the state of California. It ain't looking good for her. No matter how much she dances to her, college marching band and parades and shit. I'm sorry, Kamala, you're going to have some troubles if you're on that ticket. That's what and Amy Klobuchar is done also. She showed up at the funeral of George Floyd yesterday. I'm surprised they didn't carry her out the building, but, if you know her problems. Anyway, so those are the two organizations. I'm done. Today, instead of doing my normal Twitter trends, I'm so happy that some of you sent some more happy articles. Let's see. Tech company here in Arizona highly encouraged taking 8 minutes and 46 seconds of silence midday. Tragic, but the socio-political statements being made leans toward propaganda. I've seen the recruiting bonuses. For example, I'm worth twice as much as my boyfriend when they recruit simply because I'm female. Oh, I know. This is Gamer. Thank you, Gamer Valine. That's from Gamer Valine, who sent me a DM. Yeah, you know what? It's funny because when that whole wage gap thing was really hot on YouTube, and all the YouTubers were talking about the wage gap, and then they had that video where the black female and the white male got to sit down and talk to each other, and they both were hired around the same time, and they were talking about the wage gap and this and that, and thinking, oh yeah, black and women, I'm a black woman, I'm probably oppressed and probably don't get paid as much because of the wage gap. We're in the same field. And then they said they're going to reveal what they make. And the black woman was making $120,000 a year, and the white dude was making like $80,000 a year. And they were just, both their eyes went like, whoa, because guess what? And I know this just from my own experience, even when I was going into college. There was so many opportunities for me just because I was black, that there's all these scholarships that I could apply for because I was black. It's funny because people talk about, I still hear the reparations conversation, and I don't think that would solve anything, but I know some people believe it does, and I respect people who think that. I just don't. Here's the thing. We've been getting reparations. We get there. It's funny. I laughed when Laura and I, my lady boomer, first found out that we're having our first child, our lovely daughter AJ. We had a conversation because we were joking. She's like, "Well, look, what are we gonna put for race for our child or for our children?" Because we were having our first child, and we thought, well, we probably will have at least one more after this. And the question was, what were we gonna put as far as race? Now, this was back in 1994. And I said to her, well, if we're trying to get a scholarship, we'll put black. And if she's trying to get a job, she should put white. And I thought, oh, that's hilarious, right? Because it was just a joke that I told even when I was going into college, you know, because I didn't know I was mixed race when I was in college. I didn't find out I was mixed race until 2004 when I met my natural parents. But I always thought that was funny. Yeah, well, if you want a scholarship, put down black, and if you want a job, put down white. Well, that's not even true anymore, because all of these companies are scraping as anyone they can get for diversity, and it's in some fields there are very few there's just not a lot of women or black people who go into those fields. You know, in tech companies, women, they're always trying to get women, so they get, you know, the bonuses and things that women get are always going to be higher because they want more women, and also minorities, and so they cheat the minority part. Okay, here's how they cheat the minority part. They're not getting black people to fill the minority quotas. They're getting immigrants, Indians, not casino Indians, call center Indians, Indians, and, you know, or Nigerians, because there's a lot of Nigerians who go to tech, but mostly Nigerians, though. I know this because my family are Nigerians. When I met my natural family, and I have all kinds of cousins and relatives out in California and also in New York, and I'm meeting my cousins, and I'm like, all my cousins that are from Nigeria were either doctors, lawyers, or registered nurses. And I'm thinking, I must be the dumbest person in the family, because everyone's doctor, lawyer, although I had an uncle who's a very wealthy businessman too. All the Nigerians, hey, they, you know, no, Sean, dot, not feather. No, I like mine. I made that up, and I'm always going to use it for the rest of my life. You know, casino, not casino, call center Indians. Anyway, what was I talking about? Anyway, so that's how they fill out their person of color quotas, by putting in people who are from India or Nigeria or foreigners or whatever. Then they can say, because there's, you know, not as many black people go to those fields either. But if they can get a black person, because now a lot more are. In fact, my son said that there was quite a few other black people, you know, in his classes for computer tech. But hey, right now you write your ticket. That's the reparations I think people should be taking advantage of. Okay, if that's gonna be it, take advantage of that, right? So anyway. Thank you for that. Now where's my I gotta find my where's my profile? Here we go. Okay, now I did ask the other day for some stories, positive stories that were coming out. So we're, instead of doing Twitter trends today, we're gonna pull out a few positive stories. And Cindy Rochelle, especially, thank you, my friend, for bringing me so many of these. Oh shoot, what did I do here? Okay, here we go. Let me open these up. Let's see, we'll start with that, and we'll keep the meme up here. Oh, here we go, and this one too. All right, so we're gonna finish with a few stories. They're just positive stories during the age of chaos and protest and chaos. And again, always have mad respect for the protesters who are out there just wanting their voice heard, whether I agree with you or not. I appreciate the protesters who came out to make a point, to do it peacefully, to raise awareness over the cause that they find important. To the rioters, fuck off. All right. West Green Bay clothing store was vandalized. This is from, thank you, Cindy Rochelle, for the positive stories today. Community members are helping the store recover. New business owner, Sininka Kirk, is just trying to weather the 2020 storms. First, the COVID-19 pandemic, economic uncertainty, then vandalism and theft at his urban fashion store in West Green Bay. Kirk's decision to open his business playground was suddenly yet was sudden yet welcome. He started planning for Playground after he realized there wasn't a place in Green Bay to exclusively shop for urban fashion with popular store brands like Supreme. He opened the store on this XNXX street in time for the Christmas shopping season in December. He loves the entrepreneurship aspect of running a business and being his own boss. But starting in March, the new business had to deal with the economic effects of shutting down as the state ordered non-essential businesses to close to control the spread of coronavirus. It wasn't a great time to be a new business owner with the COVID-19 pandemic. Then a new challenge came Kirk's way. When someone smashed through the business glass door and stole merchandise, the break-in occurred in the same Sunday night. Some individuals damaged local businesses and interrupted peaceful anti-police brutality protests downtown. Kirk thinks the thief or thieves took advantage of the confusion downtown to vandalize and steal from the store. He does not think any protesters were involved and supports their calls for criminal justice reform after Derek Chauvin, a white police officer, killed George Floyd, a black Minneapolis resident, by kneeling on his neck for almost 9 minutes. I don't think my vandalism was with the protest people, though, Kirk said. I think it was an individual who just took advantage of all of the stuff that was going on. And he or few probably did, then took advantage to rob and steal something. I definitely don't think it was the people that was involved in the protest. I don't know why he doesn't think that, but that's okay. So yeah, his store got vandalized and had some things stolen. Dejanay Williams, a 22-year-old nurse, was the organizer of Sunday's protest that did not end as she had planned. Williams and protesters helped clean up around town, including a Marathon gas station on East Walnut Street that had been the scene of looting and confrontation with police. And later at Playground, she saw what happened to Playground after Kirk posted a photo of the smashed front door on Facebook. After I finished cleaning inside and outside the Marathon, I went to the boardwalk first and cleaned up, Williams said. Then I went to Playground and cleaned up. So people are helping people in these situations, and that's fantastic. Good for them. So, and but still, it sucks that especially someone who has a new business is getting his business broken into. All right, next story real quick. We got that's how we are trained. Gastonia police captain saves child from choking. So this has nothing to do with at least I don't think so. Gastonia police captain saved the life of a child who was choking on food at an Olive Garden on Thursday. Wow, their Olive Gardens are open? Oh, this is North Carolina. Okay. Captain Trent Conrad was on his lunch break when he heard the woman shout, she's not breathing. My baby's not breathing, according to the police department. The Gastonia Police Department said Concord rushed over the child, who was blue and limp, and people in the restaurant were upset and crying. Conrad forced several back thrusts and then stopped to monitor the child, who started crying. That was what we do as police officers. That's how we are trained, Conrad said. It's awesome to be able to help somebody in their moment of need and save a life. So, good job for Officer, or what's his name? Captain Conrad. Good job. All right, moving on. Hope to the rescue. We'll block the notifications here. Human rescuers work with a dog to save puppy. Okay, this is interesting. On May 20th, Hillsborough resident Jessica Maxwell and her mother, Leah Aleph, could hear what sounded like distressed barking. At first, they thought the barking was coming from an abandoned barn across the road, but a quick drive helped her pinpoint that the sounds were coming from somewhere near Maxwell's property. Maxwell and her mom walked around Maxwell's property and discovered that the barking was coming from the direction of a nearby natural spring, which Maxwell described as a creek with a portion that flows underground before returning to the surface. As soon as we headed over there, we saw a hound dog and briefly saw a white dog. I don't know what kind of a dog it was, but he was there and then he vanished, and we never found him again. Anyway, the hound dog continued to make this awful bark and cry, Maxwell said. She was digging, and because she was a hound dog, we kind of thought she probably has a fox or a rabbit that she had run down into a hole. But the longer we stood there, we heard the little tiny whimper and automatically assumed there was a puppy in the ground. Maxwell called the Highland County Sheriff's Office, who sent Highland County Dog Warden Lanny Brown and 2 firefighters to the location. We came to the conclusion that the puppy was walking in the natural spring and just happened to go underground, Maxwell said. We thought it had to be stuck under there because there were a lot of big, mucky tree roots. Brown and the 2 firefighters dug for what Maxwell estimates was around about an hour and a half. They knew where to dig because the mama dog was digging in the same spot over and over, and when they would ask her to move over to let them dig, she would. She would move over and just watch them dig. And when they'd stop to take a break, she would dig. So they were taking turns, Maxwell said. She had to bite through some of the roots because we couldn't get through them. Though the rescuers were able to break through the small roots using their shovels, some of the roots, Maxwell said, were at least 3 or 4 inches thick, and they were unable to break them. During the human breaks, the mama dog chewed through the thicker roots. After around an hour and a half, Brown laid on the ground and stuck his arm into the hole. He yelled up that he had something by its ear and that it was fighting him back, Maxwell said. I thought he had the wrong animal, so I backed up in case he was going to pull out a fox or a crazy raccoon. And he pulled out a puppy. Maxwell estimated the puppy was around 3 months old due to its size. The mama dog licked all over the puppy, and Lanny handed over the puppy to me. Then the mama dog started doing it again. Maxwell said she started barking and whining, but digging in a different place. We all kind of looked at each other and thought, oh my gosh, there has to be another one down there. The new spot was worse than the first spot. They dug through. The roots were twice as thick, but for 45 minutes, Maxwell, her mother, and the dog warden and 2 firefighters took turn digging with the mama dog in the new spot. Then the mama dog went underground to look for what Maxwell and the others assumed was another puppy. We could vaguely shine the flashlights in there. We couldn't see through the hole, but we could see that there was about 4 inches between the top of the water and the bottom of the ground that she could breathe, and it was deep enough for her to swim in, Maxwell said. She went under there, barking, crying, and carrying on, and we kind of assumed she was going to grab this puppy, if it's another puppy, and pull it out. Instead, the mama dog went silent. We thought she was drowning, Maxwell said. I was recording on my phone, so I stuck it in the hole. I couldn't see anything, so I was mainly listening. All of a sudden, I could hear her breathing. I told Lanny, she's breathing, but I can't reach in there. If you can reach in there, I think you can grab her. Brown, who had continued digging after the mama dog went underground, went to the hole, laid on the ground, and attempted to reach her. We were all trying to talk to her, saying, "Come on, mama dog," Maxwell said. Lanny said she was going into hypothermia because she was so exhausted from digging and carrying on, and more than likely she was giving up, and he didn't know if he could save her. There was no way we were going to get through the muck and roots in time. After a few minutes, though, Brown said he had the mama dog. He pulled her out. Her eyes were in the back of her head. She was sopping wet and shivering. As soon as Lanny pulled her out, he just held her and said, "Oh, mama, don't give up on me." Maxwell helped Brown wrap the mama dog in Brown's jacket. We kind of called it. There was nothing more we could do. If there was a puppy down there, we still don't know. It could have been a puppy or could have been a wild animal. We're not sure, but we knew that we had to get her secure as soon as possible. In the end, mama dogs and animals in general are born knowing how to take care of their babies. They know when it's time to wean them and let them go do their own thing in life. Maxwell said this puppy no longer needed her. It was old enough to be eating dog food, but it was trapped in the ground, and she was still determined to save this puppy that didn't need her anymore. So cool. They saved both the dog and the puppy. To the opera, brevity is the thing. I know it's Times Gazette. Might be a small town newspaper for all I know, and sometimes you just gotta milk the story out. Anyway, good for them, mama dog and baby dog safe. And finally, NMSP officers save woman from jumping off bridge approximately 9 a.m. Tuesday. New Mexico State Police officers responded to the scene of a woman sitting on the ledge of a ramp overpass on Interstate 25 near Balin. Officers arrived to find the woman in mental distress, sitting on the bridge of the overpass. flyover that crossed Interstate 25. This officer attempted to speak to her and coax her off the ledge of the overpass. She prepared to jump. New Mexico State Police Officer Sergio Coral saw her positioning herself to jump off the ledge, and he was able to quickly pull the woman to safety before she could jump. The swift actions of Officer Coral and other officers on the scene surely saved this woman's life, and MSP Chief Tim Johnson said, despite everything else going on in our state, my officers are still out there responding to calls for service from our citizens and saving lives. So congratulations, Officer Coral. All right, let's finish up. Find out what's going on in the quick roundup of Twitter trends. I'm not going to get into great detail on any of these. Let's see. Oh, that's weird. There is the Explore tab is small business administration certification process for the women-owned small business federal contracting program is changing. What you need to know. So the SBA is changing its women-owned small business federal contracting program. Well, there's an example of targeted demographic, targeted demographic. Anyway, they're trying to get more women in the small business federal contracting program, and so sometimes, you know what? Women in minority contracts. See, there you go. They're trying it again. All right. Anyway, all right. Let's see if there's anything significant on the trending page today that I really need to know. Say her name. That Breonna Taylor. Apparently it's Breonna Taylor's birthday. The woman killed by Louisville police. Terrible, tragic. Mistake, failure, whatever you want to call it, in serving a warrant. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Breonna Taylor wasn't she a police officer, and no knock warrant, and I believe they're at the wrong home, if I'm not mistaken. So police officers had used a no-knock warrant that allowed them to enter Taylor's home without identifying themselves. Taylor's partner, Kenneth Walker, thought the police were intruders and opened fire, hitting one officer. The local police then shot around 25 bullets, hitting Taylor 8 times. Now, I never heard that part of the story until now. They did a no-knock warrant on the wrong address. A person in the that's what's even more tragic about it. So that's why the wrongful death suit. So someone from inside the place where they did this warrant shot at them. They returned fire with 25 shots, and they ended up hitting Taylor 8 times. I never heard that part of the story. I get it. Say it's her birthday and it's tragedy. Now, quick question. Again, I'll ask this question. Was Breonna Taylor shot because she is black? She is black and got shot. I guess I haven't read this case enough. So she was shot. People are wishing Breonna Taylor happy birthday on the day she would have turned 27, as well as sharing ways to help in the fight for justice. Taylor was shot and killed by police officers who entered her home in March. Again, I'm going to read this. The police officers had used a no-knock warrant that allowed them to enter Taylor's home without identifying themselves. Taylor's partner, Kenneth Walker, thought the police were intruders and opened fire, hitting one of the officers. The Louisville police then shot around 25 bullets, hitting Taylor 8 times. So, I understand the wrongful death suit, but they're including this in the Black Lives Matter protest. Boy, that's messed up. It's messed up. But rest in peace, Breonna Taylor. And a wrongful death suit makes sense. National Donut Day. God. Oh, no. How freaking ironic. National freaking Donut Day. Well, oh my God. The jokes fucking write themselves. I can't do it. I can't. This is just... Oh, God. Oh. On this National Donut Day, remember that the only good cops are ex-cops. Go fuck yourself, okay? Oh, my God. And the hashtag activists are out. Police brutality pandemic. Anyway... National fucking Donut Day. Are you kidding me? Friday morning jobs report. Yeah, another 1.2 million people filed for unemployment. It's at 41 million. Some now. Ask the mayor. I don't know. If so many examples of bad police behavior, way too many bad apples, that would reflect a failure of your administration. Brian Lara directly tells New York City Mayor. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, let's see. Bill de Blasio has this. Oh, I get it. This week on Ask the Mayor, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio will take your calls and questions. Post your questions using the hashtag Ask the Mayor. Oh, I might just do a video strictly on that one this afternoon. We'll take a look at it. Third Amendment is trending. Why is the Third Amendment trending? The Overlook never gets the audition. Third Amendment says first and second, right? I'm getting it's Third Amendment, you empty product of shameless nepotism. You're only where you're because your daddy worked for Reagan. What? I just heard Mayor Bowler is kicking the Utah National Guard out of all DC hotels tomorrow. More than 1,200 troops from 10 states are being evicted. This is unacceptable. I just heard that the mayor. This is in Washington D.C. Okay. Oh my God. All of a sudden, the often overlooked Third Amendment to the Constitution starts feeling strangely relevant. When Twitter lawyers started invoking the Third Amendment with regard to Army renting hotel rooms from a private company. Yeah. Those are private companies renting the hotel rooms. How does the state interfere with a private business? Oh, remember that law? Bake the cake, people? Oh my God. Yeah, the mayor has no authority to kick people out of legal businesses that are selling legal space. That's so funny. Anyway, it's funny nobody seems to. Yeah. It's keep your hands off my Third Amendment rights. No soldiers quartered into my house. Hello? They're paying. God, they don't. These people are so stupid. Private business didn't force themselves to be quartered. They're paying to be housed in those hotel rooms. Jesus Christ. Fucking dumb. Anyway, that's trending. World Environment Day. All right. Trending with World Environment Day 2020 and for nature. Third Amendment trending. 10 to 15% Americans are not. Oh, and Biden says 10 to 15% of Americans are not very good people. Oh, my God. Presumed Democratic nominee Joe Biden said Thursday that 10 to 15% of Americans are not very good people. The remarks came when he was taking part in an online forum with black supporters moderated by the actor Don Cheadle that discussed racial relations in the aftermath of the death of police custody of George Floyd, an African-American man in Minneapolis. Former vice president said that President Donald Trump has been a divisive leader. You know what's funny about that? Do you think all the people who've spent the last 3 years telling you how much they hate Donald Trump have also been divisive. What have those people done to bring people together? You can't be divisive without someone helping the divide. So 10 to 15%. So let's say 15%. What's 15% of 320 million? Is that like 60 million? What is this? Let's see. 330 million times 15% equals, so 49,500,000 people in the United States are not very good people. Yep. I bet he's assuming that it's all the Trump voters, isn't he? Well, I guess you gave up that part of the electorate, Joe Biden. Moving on, let's see. Brian Lair, I'm 13.3% May. That's the unemployment rate. Paul Krugman, I don't even know. He's a dumbass. DC mayor officially requests Trump's move all federal law enforcement. You know what's funny, though? Okay, so I'm not inclined to listen to lectures about freedom from a spokesman for an administration that tried to fine elderly nuns running nursing homes out of existence and then drag them to the Supreme Court. You think that didn't contribute to President Trump? Think again. That's Ben Rose. DC Mayor Muriel Bowser has written an extensive letter to President Trump requesting federal law enforcement be withdrawn from the district. DC Mayor officially requests Trump to remove all federal law enforcement. Can't do it. I guarantee you she can't do that. She doesn't own the district. Unbelievable. But I bet you all the media is cheering her on. Oh, good girl. Way to go, girl. You go, girl. You go, girl. Truth to power. Truth to power. Oh, my God. Oh, and Yamisha Cinder. My question to President Trump just now. Overall, U.S. unemployment rate fell by 1%. Black unemployment rate went up 1.1%. Asian American rate went up by 1.5%. How is that a victory? His response to me, you are something. Note, it's a crucial question. No, it's not. It's not a crucial question. I'll tell you what. I bet you that 0.1% black unemployment rate went up. Well, again, maybe that was just in the last week. That unemployment rate, people working, I'm pretty sure there's some lags in there. Who knows? Whatever. I think it's hilarious. It's just fucking hilarious. The mayor requests Trump remove all federal law enforcement from Washington, D.C. Holy shit. You have no idea. Mayor Bowser's trending because of it. Happy 27th. That's for Breonna Taylor. Happy birthday, Queen. That's for Breonna Taylor. 2.5 million. That's the unemployment. The unemployment rate dips to 13.3%. Ugh. That's a terrible sentence, the AP does, but added 2.5 million jobs in May, I guess, probably because places started opening back up. Duh. Holy shit, these people are stupid. But yeah, okay, no shocker there. And I'm sure it'll continue to improve throughout the rest of the summer as states begin to open their businesses and their whatever back up. Hello, Willett, Forge, and Kessler. I didn't see you there earlier. Hello. Okay, Art Laffer, don't care. Hopefully George what? Hopefully George is looking down right now and saying, this is a great thing that's happening for our country. It's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody. Okay, yeah, that's Trump not being the best speaker. And he doesn't. Sometimes Trump puts his foot in his mouth. Everyone knows that. No more than Biden, no more than George W. Bush, no more than Obama. You know, Obama's gaffes were just as much out there as everybody other presidents. But you know what? We didn't hear about him as much because, China plague is trending. Ask the mayor's trending. Trump press conference. Wear orange. Why are we wearing orange? Oh, that's the gun violence thing for the dipshits who want to repeal the Second Amendment. Anyway, all right. I'm going to leave it at that because it's time for me to go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoying the funky music in the background. Thank you so much for being here at the Morning Night Live. We are here Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern, or 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 1500 GMT for my friend down under who's in the chat. I know you're there somewhere. Anyway, so, well, if you're, of course, there's a couple people from Ireland here, Australia, UK, there's people from other places. There's a few, the Canadians are in the Hizzow. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. I can't tell you how much I appreciate y'all. If you haven't done so already, there's 45 people still in the chat or in the room, but only 28 likes. So on the way out, hit the like button, of course, or dislike for Duck Dog. Katie did skate. I didn't even say hi to you. I just realized that. Anyway, hi. And what else do you do? You hit the like button, you share. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe. Encourage other people to join us sometime. Then maybe they'll subscribe. And then when we go on our road trip in July, I almost said June, in July, I'll have enough people so I can do this stuff on the road. Anyway, and then if you want to make donations to the channel or to me or whatever, that's up to you. That's in the Streamlabs link down below. Leave a message in your Streamlabs donations and I will be surely reading them on the show, whether you do it during the show or even if you do it during the replay, I'll read it first thing in the next show. So leave a comment if you're doing that replay thing too. I may do a bonus stream this weekend. I haven't decided yet, but watch your notifications or follow me on Twitter. Mine's Gab, and I'll have that notification there too. And I think that's all. Did I get it all in? I think I did. Well, thank you everybody again. I gotta go. My name is PDawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye. Hey, this is PDawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawg Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawg Knight, and I'm out of here.